Hello and good evening everyone. This is Sheetal and you're watching Hitbullseye. The topic that I'm going to discuss with you today is a highly relevant one for all the competitive exams, especially your CUET exam. And the topic's name is one-word substitution. So today I'll be telling you what one-word substitution questions are and some of the tricks in which you can solve them in an easy way. It will be followed by some practice questions. So I hope you're all going to drop in your answers in the chat box. The moment I show you one question, I will pause for 5 seconds. I'll wait for your response and then we will move on to the next question. If you are watching this video later on, you can pause the video, try to answer the question on your own, applying the tricks that I will tell you, and then try to solve the questions. So we know that the CUET paper tests your grammar through different types of question. They are going to give you 4 antonym type of question, 4 synonym type of question. They will give you questions on idioms and phrases, correct spellings, wrong spellings and everything, and analogy questions also. And one of the topic that they may ask you is one word substitution, wherein a phrase is given to you, you have to use the right one word instead of that whole phrase. So let us understand what one word substitution is. One word substitution is the use of one word in place of a wordy phrase in order to make the sentence structure clearer. Obviously, rather than using a longer phrase, if we have an appropriate word for that, the language looks more beautiful, more appealing, and more lucid, I would say. So that is what one word substitutions are. Yes, hello Krishna. Okay, let other people also join in. We haven't started with the question part yet. Okay, so the tip for one word substitution, the time and tested one, is try to break the word into smaller pieces or units which have some meaning of their own, which is known as the root method. So you have to find out the root word from it, try to guess the meaning of that root word. One easy method of doing one word substitution is by using the root method. Roots are nothing but the words from which the main word has been derived. So root words can be prefixes also, the suffixes that ends towards the end of a word, and it can be a word from somewhere in between that longer word. If you are able to guess the meaning of that root word, you will be very close to guessing the right choice from the option choices. For example, look at the root word cracy, C-R-A-C-Y. So wherever you see this suffix cracy, it is a noun, first thing, and second, it is related to government or governance. Look at this. Cracy means rule or government. Now that you know what cracy is, you can easily guess a government by the people will be democracy. A government by a king or a queen is monarchy. A government by the officials or the elites, you can say, is bureaucracy. The diplomats or the official, if they are the head of the government, if they have formed the government, it is known as bureaucracy. A government run by the bureaucrats. A government by rich is plutocracy. Similarly, these are just 4 examples. You can write a list of the word that stand for different kinds of government, and I'm pretty sure almost in all the competitive exam you're sure to find 1 or 2 words related to the government. See, I know that there is a sea of one words also, and it's difficult to learn all of them, but it has been seen time and again that there are certain words that have a chance to come in the exam. For example, all the words related to the government, all the words related to liking of something, collection of something, all the words related to murder or killing of something. For example, killing of king, killing of mother, killing of father is patricide, killing of mother is matricide, killing of a king is regicide. So you can make different lists on different pages for a list of these words. When you compare them and you make a relation between them, it becomes easy to remember those words for a longer time. Right, I can see some of you have joined in. Krishna, which all important words you are talking about, please write it down in the chat box. कौन से important words की आप बात कर रहे हो? So in this we are going to discuss some of the most important one word substitution. Alright everyone, moving on to the first question for today. One who lives or survives on the others is known as what? Give me the right choice of word for this. One, something that survives on the life of other thing. It will take nutrients from the other thing. and the other things in their nutrient drive life force for that particular thing. What is it known as? That thing which thrives on the other things. Yes, let us see who's going to answer this one. Krishna, there are ample important words for CUET. That is what I have been doing in my lives. I am trying to cover up many words. Try to watch all the videos. You will be very close to learning many new words. But again, because there are so many words, we cannot be sure which question or which word they would ask you. On the basis of the previous year paper and on the basis of the pattern that we have noticed, I have made videos on different words. You can watch them. Yes, one who lives or survives on other life is known as, come on, drop in your answer. It should be parasite. और पैरासाइट जिसके ऊपर अपनी न्यूट्रिएंट्स ड्राइव करता है, जिससे ड्राइव करता है, जिसके ऊपर सर्वाइव करता है, दैट इज नोन एज द होस्ट. So parasite, all the creepy plants you must have seen, they creep up some on the trunk of a tree or something else. They try to extract nutrients from that trunk. They are known as, these creepy plants are known as the parasites, and the trunk will be the host for it. So the right word is parasite. Pesticide are the you can say the drugs or the medicines that you use for killing the pests basically. Expatriate is a person who has withdrawn from one's native country. So for example, if a person has left India, he is no more living in India, he has withdrawn from it, then you would call him an expatriate of India or an Indian expatriate. A refugee is a person who comes to one country from some other country basically. So a person who is homeless, who have come from some other country, is known as a refugee. So that is the difference between them. Parasite is the only right answer here, no close contender. I hope this one is clear. Absolutely right, Krishna. It should be parasite. Let us see if you can answer the second one. One who is unable to pay one's debt. So people often take debt, they take loans. What if they are not able to pay back that same amount or with the right interest? What are they known as? People who are unable to pay back the debt or pay back the loan, the money they have borrowed. What is it known as? One who is unable to pay one's debt. All the word you are seeing here, they are all jargon of economics or commerce, you can say, all the words. Which one should be the right answer? Okay, so P is saying it should be C. Absolutely right, it should be C, which is bankrupt. So bankrupt is a person who doesn't have enough money to pay back the amount of the debt. It cannot be a borrower, because a borrower is not in a position that he is going to give back money. Rather, this stage is before you take some debt. So it cannot be borrower, it cannot be the payee, it should be bankrupt. A payee can be reliable to pay back the money, but a bankrupt will not be. A cure for all the diseases, a single cure for all kind of diseases. What is it known as? A cure for most of the diseases. What do we call it? Yes, Krishna and P, what do you think? So we know that antidote is a medicine for a particular kind of disease, something that can go against it and tackle it, help us come over it, particular disease. Antiseptic is also, we use it for the injuries. If we are hurt somewhere, we use the antiseptic to disinfect that area. It cannot be antiseptic. Which one should be the right answer? It should be panacea. No, it is not antidote. See, people who are answering antidote, we need to understand one thing, कि antidote जो है वो एक ही problem के लिए होता है. But यहाँ पे हमें एक ऐसा word choose करना है which is a cure for all diseases. So it should be panacea. A common cure for all the diseases is known as panacea. Right, moving on to the next word for today. The art of cutting trees and bushes into ornamental shapes. Ornamental is decorative. So when what is that particular art known as in which we cut the trees in particular shapes, in ornamental shape? You must have seen it in the parks, and so some of the bushes, they are cut in a shape of a duck, in a shape of a tortoise, in a shape of a giraffe or something like that. So why do they do it? What is this art or practice known as? The word choices you have is horticulture, bonsai, pruning and topiary. So when you come across this type of words and you do not know the right word for this, at least some of the option choices, the meaning of them you must be aware of. For example, pruning is the cutting of the trees, but not necessarily in an ornamental style, in a showy way, in a decorative way. Simple cutting of all the extra things, if you want to cut it out, is known as pruning. Extra leaves if you have and if you want to cut it, it is known as pruning. Horticulture, we all know that what horticulture is. Let us see. Very good, Krishna. Yes, the answer is topiary. It should be topiary. So horticulture is growing different types of flowers or vegetables or something like that. So it is not about cutting or making them into different shapes, decorating them into different shape. So bonsai and topiary are close contenders here, but bonsai is a hobby or an interest or an act of growing plants into decorative or ornamental style. It's not about cutting, it's growing plant into a particular shape you want. That is what bonsai is. So answer should be topiary. So already grown plant, you are cutting it into an ornamental shape, it will be topiary. And if you are growing it from the very initial stage into a particular shape, then it will be a bonsai. So it should be topiary. Moving on to the fifth question for today. A disease that spreads by means of germs carried in atmosphere. What do we call it? ऐसी diseases जो atmosphere से spread होती हैं, what are they known as? So germs that travel in the atmosphere, they carry those diseases from one person to the other person. What do we call it? Let us see who's going to answer this one. I'm waiting for your responses, everyone. Yes, let us see who's going to answer this one. Should it be contagious, epidemic, infectious, or endemic? All the interesting words. I have one response which is C, infectious. Absolutely right. So infectious are the disease. We call diseases, certain diseases, as infectious if they can spread through the atmosphere. If they spread through touch or a contact, then they are known as contagious. Contagious you can remember with the word contact. So they spread through contact only. Epidemic. Epidemic is a disease on a large scale. For example, the pandemic, COVID-19, we have all seen. It's an example of epidemic, you can say. So, for example, earlier, now we have a lot of medicine and antidote for everything. In earlier time, in medicine and the science of the medical science was not that developed. There used to be diseases, some kind of diseases caused by millets, some kind of flus, which would widespread and there would have, and they would cause wide killing. So those were known as epidemics. A complete mass is wiped out because of epidemics. Endemic is something which is everlasting. जो कभी खत्म ना हो, that is what endemic is, which has no end. Moving on to the next one. A will that cannot be bent. So if a person has a very strong will and he will not deter from, stopping it or seizing at a particular point of time, and you cannot waver the person from that decision, what is that known as? That will. What is that will known as, which cannot be bent or cannot be altered? So again, here we have two close contenders. Let us see if you will be able to find it out or not. Headstrong, indomitable, subdued, or sturdy. Let's say we do not know the meaning of these two words, but we at least know what subdued and sturdy is. Sturdy is very robust and strong, you can say, physically. Subdued is overpowered, something that has been defeated or overpowered. I am waiting for your response. Headstrong is when a person is very steadfast in doing something, when he is very particular, he sticks on his path. So a person who is very serious or you can say very devoted towards something, then the person is headstrong. But here we are talking about a person who cannot be bent, whose will cannot be bent. So the right choice of word here will be indomitable. A person whom you cannot influence. You cannot subdue a person who has an indomitable will. So like this, you can sometimes get very close contenders in the exam. Don't fall for these traps and think wisely. You will definitely find out the answer. Now, headstrong only talks about, it's a positive adjective. It only talks about a person who has a very strong will. But what about the aspect of bending the will? Not able to bend a will. It should be indomitable will. Something that cannot be bent. No, it's not sturdy, Krishna. Answer should be indomitable. Try looking for the meaning of these words and use them in your own sentences. That will make you remember the word for a longer time. Question number 7. The victim's involuntary response to stimulus proved that he was still living. So, what is that involuntary response? You have to find out one word for this phrase. Involuntary response to a stimulus is known as, voluntary is something that you do willingly, right? Something that you do deliberately. Involuntary is something natural on which you don't have any control. So there are sometimes involuntary reaction from our side. What are those reactions known as? The involuntary ones that we cannot control, and they are triggered by a stimulus. Should it be reaction? Reaction to, I have already said, see, reactions can be natural also, they can be unnatural also. So we cannot say that involuntary responses are reaction. Yes, they are, but there are other things also which are voluntary and they can also be reaction. Should it be reflexes, feedback, or a communication? Clearly communication is out of the scope. Communication is two people communicating through a medium, right? So it cannot be communication. Feedback are never involuntary. You voluntarily give a feedback to something, right? Easily eliminating this one also. This also I have eliminated. So what are we left with? The option B, reflexes. So when you suddenly see, for example, you are in a room which is completely dark, suddenly someone switches on the light and your eyes blink. So that's a reflex action. Something suddenly comes in front of you, your eyes blink. That is again a reflex action. So involuntary actions are known as reflexes. I hope this one is clear. Yes, Krishna. In this one, you're absolutely right. Moving on to the 8th one. The art and science of good eating and drinking is now a lost art. So at the starting of the class, I told you if there are, very new kind of words for you in the option, try to break them. Try to find out the root words and their meaning and then guess the right word. Let us see if you'll be able to break these words and find out the right answer. Yes, RK, whatever doubt it is, you may put it in the chat box. I'll take up your doubt by the end of the session. First, try to answer these questions. Focus on these questions, please. The art and science of good eating and drinking is known as, very nice, Krishna, answer is gastronomy. So the word guess, it is used for eating habits and foods. It is related to our digestion. So it should be gastronomy. By breaking the word, we could find out the meaning of it. What is osteopathy? Osteopathy is again a field of medical science in which some extra ointment and massages are used. So other than giving the medicine, to cure a person, you would use some kind of ointments and massages as an additional way to cure the person. So that science is known as osteopathy. Gluttony is a habit of overeating. It is one of the vices that we should not have. So if someone overeats greedily, someone's greed, if it cannot be satiated, the person will be known as a gluttonous person, and that vice is known as gluttony. Habit of eating too much. Cooking, you already know. Right, let us move on to the 9th question. I will take up your question, RK, by the end of the session. Person who knows or can speak many languages. If a person is well versed with speaking too many languages, what will you call that person? Will we call him a polyglot, or a potable, or plebiscite, or paramour? Let us see who's going to answer this one. Yes, Krishna, you're right. Osteopathy is related to bones only, but in this science, you try to cure that particular problem or the pain using the oils and massages. Absolutely right, Krishna. It should be a polyglot. So the hint word was poly. Poly is more than one. So there are some words like mono is single, uni is single, poly or ambi means multiple. So these are the root words which will help you to find out the right answer. Poly means many. For example, polygamous, having more than one spouse, polygamous. Gamous is marriage or coupling, so it is polygamy will be having more than one spouse. Similarly, polyglot will be to be able to speak more than one languages, multiple languages. Acha, plebiscite is when all the members of a particular party, you can say, or the ruling party, they decide on something together. That is known as plebiscite. Paramour is a word used for a lover. So only answer that was close is polyglot. Moving on to the 10th question, which is deserving blame for an offense or a crime. What adjective will you use for a person who deserves to be blamed, whom we can blame, or we can say that he is the culprit? Which word will you use for that? A person deserving blame for something, what will you call the person? See, we cannot call the person a culprit because the crime has not been proved. We are saying the person who is deserving to be said that he is a culprit. So what will you call that person? Let us see who's going to answer this one. Very nice, RK. It should be culpable. Culpable, capable of being a criminal, you can say, or a person responsible for some crime. Now, what is a hedonist? Hedonist is a pleasure seeker. So, people, those who believe that in life you should always think about the pleasure, and so much so that they may ignore the morals also, they may ignore the religion also and everything, and they believe in seeking pleasure, being happy, merry-making. That is known as hedonism, or the person will be known as a hedonist who lives for pleasure. Misanthrope, breaking this word, anthrop means mankind. Miss is a negative word. All the words that have miss as a prefix are always a negative word. Mishappening, mischance. So misanthrope should be hatred towards the mankind. It's a negative word. So this is not related to deserving blame for an offense or a crime. Regicide is killing of one's own king. कोई अपने ही king की अगर killing करे या murder करे, उसके लिए हम regicide word use करते हैं. So again, I've told you, all the word related to killing, you should be learning them. Any of these words can come in the exam. So answer should be culpable, capable or deserving of a blame. 11th one, a child of unusual or remarkable talent. What should we call a child? And please be careful that here we are talking about child. Not in general for everyone, particular to a child who has remarkable talent in something. What will we call the person? For example, there is a kid who's, very good at Vedic math. What will you call that person? No, it cannot be scholar, RK. That is the reason I pointed this out. The word is particular to child only. Scholar can be an adult person, a grown-up person who has well read something. Yes, prodigy is the right answer. So if you say, meet my friend's son. If I say meet my friend's son, a Vedic math prodigy, it means he is very talented or gifted to be good in the Vedic math. So prodigy is a word which you use only for a child, not for the grown-ups. For the grown-ups who are very intellectual, you will use the word scholar. Diligent is hardworking. The word diligent means hardworking. Freak is a person who behaves in a very, not in a very social way or not in a very ethical way. Moving on to the last question for today, let us see who's going to drop the answer for this one. The study of ancient societies, what will you call it? Ancient societies, people in general. So you are tracing back the humanity or the mankind. How have people evolved? How have the societies evolved? What will you call it? No, a notorious kid, RK, cannot be considered as a prodigy. Notorious has a negative connotation with it. Prodigy is a very positive word. If you are very talented in something, you are a prodigy. Notorious is infamously known for something bad. Right? Notorious is different. It's not archaeology. Let us see who's going to answer this one. Answer for this one should be anthropology. We are reading people. You are reading about the societies, about the mankind or the humans. Logy is a root word which means study of something. Anthrop, I have already told you, is mankind. So the right answer should be anthropology. In archaeology, you dig up the archives and then you go on to study the kind of things people used to use in their times and in different societies. So yes, even in archaeology you look back at history, but then there is a lot of digging and a lot of probing into the architecture, I would say. And ethnology talks about the ethnicity, different ethnicities, how they have evolved, different societies, religion, you can say. So it should be anthropology. Now that we are done up with almost all the questions, I hope you would have got some idea what one word substitution questions are. And yes, there are many questions related to one word, but we should know how to differentiate which all are very important ones, and you should definitely do those words. So try to go by the list. I have given you a hint. Do all the words related to killing. Do all the words related to government, related to different kind of marriages and all that. And you'll be very close to learning too many words. Yes, RK, I am gonna go back to your doubt. Okay, let me just read it. Some brooms are stoves, all stoves are fries. The question that you have asked is a reasoning question, which is based on diagrams. So in your general test, in your CUET exam, you will have three types of question, three type of paper, the three sections I would say. First is the general test. In general test, they can ask you questions on GK, on current affairs, on reasoning. Basically, they try to test your analytical skills through the reasoning question. Next is your language part, in which I believe most of the students are going to select the English language, though there are other options also. So you can go for the other languages also, but most of the university, they demand that you should have given the English paper in the CUET exam. And last one is your domain or subject specific section, in which you can select the subject in which you want to go for the bachelor's. So there are 27 subjects from this. It's your will how many subjects you want to choose. The university you are going in, which subject has it asked from you. So which all required subjects are there. So the question that you have asked is from general test, logical reasoning. So the question is, some brooms, I am writing B for the brooms. Okay, some brooms are stoves, all stoves are fries. Some brooms are stoves. This is stove, right? If you draw circles like this, it becomes easy. And all the stoves are fries. All the stoves are fries. So look at this circle. This makes a complete circle. All the stoves are fries. The question is conclusion 1. Some brooms are fries, and second is some brooms are not fries. Absolutely right, both the conclusion follow here. So this is the broom area, which is neither fry nor stoves. But yes, there is some common area also which will be stove, and because all the stoves are fries and because some brooms are stoves, it means some brooms are fries also. So both the conclusion follow, RK. I hope it's clear. Okay, I'll make a video for the root words in the next class. No, some rooms are not fries, that is for sure. Both the conclusion follow according to me. Try to check for the source of the question and the explanation given over there. Right? I will try to make a video on the root words just as you have asked. Anything else that you want from our side? Yes, anything else? So in the upcoming session, I will make many videos related to the vocabulary question that you can see in the CUET exam. Stay tuned to the channel if you want to be updated with what we are showing you here, all the relevant questions with respect to the CUET exam. If you like the video, do not forget to like, share and subscribe it with your friends and stay updated for the upcoming lives. Thank you everyone. Keep smiling, keep shining and always believe in yourself. Thank you.